Well, I mean, it's more focused. That is, people are paying attention to to the election, obviously, to some extent, and so one way to get people's attention is to draw on their emotions, but draw on their emotions plus do something that's topical. That's going to be even better, right? And so that's why people, and also it um, focuses people's attention on a lot of negative partisanship, which is not just who do you support, but who do you dislike the most. And so there's lots of fake news about Justin Trudeau, for example, things like that he's converted to Islam, and other things like that. He'd be the biggest target for sure. And part of the reason is that based on previous analyses, at least in the States and in Canada, a lot of the fake news, most of it, a majority of it, comes from the right wing for reasons that I'm not totally sure of, and I don't think anybody quite is. So that's also going to lead. Right now, there is more fake news about Justin Trudeau than any other leaders, and it's probably going to continue, my guess. There's some concerns that disinformation might sway the election. I'm not sure that that's going to be the case because people usually are ingrained in who they're going to vote for. But it could definitely sow political discord, make people more angry about the whole thing, make it harder to have a conversation over the dinner table, for example. And so that's my fear, is that disinformation will lead people to, get more angry at each other and have a more negative view of political leaders than they kind of ought to. The way that we interact with social media is not conducive to really following news in the right sort of way, in a critical thinking mode, because it's mostly just like pictures of dogs and babies and like kids on the first day of school and stuff like that. And so you're not really thinking that much about what you see when you're on social media, because it's like a entertainment medium. But when you come across news content, you have to be in a different mode of thinking. You have to actually stop and reflect. And is this true? What is the evidence, etc. And so the medium isn't going to make us do that. We have to make ourselves do it. We actually have to stop and think, and that's up to us to do. In most cases, it's actually quite simple. And if for completely fabricated and really egregious disinformation, if you just Google it, it takes a half a second, and usually there's already a fact check for it. I think the one thing that's important to keep in mind is that because we don't think that much about what we see on social media and we share it, a lot of people who share disinformation aren't trying to sow discord. They're not keyboard warriors that we often impute people to be. What they're just not thinking that much about what they see, and so that's something that we all tend to do. And so I think we can empathize not just with each other, but with people across the political aisle that are sharing things that we wouldn't agree with, right?